Into topics today, guys. Today's episode is brought to us by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason's already in the past and college football started, so right now is the perfect time to get in on Prize Picks. Whether you've got your eye on a big-name quarterback or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get into the game. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 off in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first 5. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. All right, guys, we're diving into the Cleveland Browns. And for the last couple of weeks, we have heard a lot of hype about this Cleveland Browns defense. Joe Thomas came on the show on Monday and said the Browns defensive line dominated the Eagles offensive line in joint practices over the course of the 3 preseason games. The Browns defense held their opponents to under 17 points in each. We have seen quite a lot of chatter online about the Browns defense potentially being elite this season. Maybe top 3 caliber, maybe better than the number 1 rated 2023 unit. So Jay, Jason, Bull, are you guys buying the preseason hype about how good this Browns defense could actually be?
No, capital N.
Jay and I are in 100% lockstep here. No. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And Joe Thomas should know better. And we all love Joe, and he's the best. But he should know better than to judge it based on practice against another team. I mean, come on now, Joe. Listen, the Browns, tell me if I say anything wrong here. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward are absolute studs, right?
100%.
Greg Newsome, solid player. Good solid player.
Yep. Who else?
Grant Delpit, solid player. Solid player. Is there anybody else proven on the Browns defense?
Well, the rookie linebacker, Schlesinger, looks like he's going to be a player.
But he's unproven.
What has he done other than look really good in the preseason? Nothing.
Who on their defense? Everybody's talking about the defensive line. And I agree, there's good potential there. But right now, it's only potential.
Yeah.
Who has proven anything significant on that D-line besides Myles Garrett? Nobody.
I agree, Jay. I'm interested to see where you're going, to see if you're in step with us or against us. But I'll say this as I pass it off to Jason. I will make my decision 4 o'clock on next Sunday. Because out of the chute, you're going to see how you stack up against one of the elite offenses in the National Football League.
That's right.
Who, by the way, seem to me, and you would know this because you follow them more closely, but I've done some reading on what's going on in their camp and what the vibe is there. To me, they seem galvanized by their bad starts the last couple of years. They seem like a team absolutely on a mission to come out of the gate, not like you would in a Kentucky Derby, because in a Kentucky Derby, it's you got a mile and a quarter to go. You got to pace yourself. They feel like a team that's getting ready to jump out of the gates for the 100 meters. They want to start hot. They want to send a message, and they want to set the tone. That could be a disaster for the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, will it pan out? I don't know.
I don't know, but
you're right. Yes, they have made a point of doing things differently. Joe Burrow had never played in the preseason, ever, before this year.
Did this year.
He played 2 games this year.
And looked pretty good.
I think this defense will be very competent. I think it's going to keep winning a lot of games.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think it's a championship-level defense.
The 23 defense, to me, was a championship-level defense. They were great until the playoffs rolled around.
Yeah, and I think in hindsight, if you really take the emotion out and look at it, they had a lot of favorable matchups, quarterback-wise and everything else.
Especially early in the
favor.
season. Yeah.
And that's not to take anything away from the job that they did, because they did the job they're supposed to do. But I like this defense. I'd like it better if there was a quarterback on this team that I believed in. And I'm afraid that they will get gassed, that they're going to be on the field a ton. If you get some 3 and outs, and you got to get right back out there, what happens? So I do think I've heard from people that this team looks better coached and better disciplined than they have in quite a long time. And I think the problems of last year got the attention of Stefanski and the staff, and I think that this has been a much harder training camp, preseason practice, whatever. And now we'll see if it transfers over, if it carries over. But I was talking to somebody who watched them at length, who said they look much more disciplined, and it just looks like it's just a better coached team than it's been in the past. And we'll see. I'm not picking them to win 8, 9, 10 games based on that.
And is it possible that their defense could end up being excellent this year? Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's possible. There's talent there. But to think it's likely for them to be a top 3 defense with only 2 proven guys that are anywhere better than average.
You have
we all think Graham and Schlesinger are both going to be good players.
Yeah.
But they're rookies, and we don't know.
And you know what, Bull? I love how you started yours saying, here's who we know we can count on.
Right.
Here's what when I look at a team, I look at what we know and what we don't know.
Right.
And if to get me to 9-8, there has to be more what we know than what we don't know.
There certainly isn't.
What we don't know is what will Joe Flacco look like with this group of receivers.
Yeah.
At 40 years old.
At 40 years old. We don't know that. That's going to drive that win total.
Do they have a run game?
Absolutely.
The other thing
Do they have a receiver besides Jerry
Are
Jeudy?
we going to is it possible we have Judkins out there? I mean, all this changes all of that.
You know what you have. You have a quarterback with a propensity to turn the ball over.
You do.
That puts your defense in
Who's
sudden
40?
change. Yeah.
Who's 40?
But that puts your defense in sudden change situations.
Yes.
right.
And the
it's-
3 and outs are huge because your defense gets gashed. But when I look specifically at the unit we're talking about right now, the defense, what do we know? We know 2 things.
Yeah.
We know that Myles Garrett is going to play at an all-pro level, and we know that if Denzel Ward can carry 1-6, but there's an if involved there. See, there's no if for me, I guess, other than can he stay healthy. If Myles stays healthy, he'll be in the talk for the MVP, the defensive MVP.
Yeah.
He'll be in the talk for the sack leaders. He'll be in the talk for all-pro.
Sure.
With Denzel Ward, what we know is he has the ability to play like an all-pro corner. We saw that last year. But go back a couple of years and look at what we got from him. And the other thing with him is, and I know we're putting him in the what we know column, but we also know this about him. He gets hurt a lot.
We know he's going to miss a couple games.
He's going to miss games.
Sure.
And what if he's concussed?
Yeah.
God forbid. That's the last thing we need.
Yeah. Right, but
that he needs.
Right
Forget
now
the
he's
football
healthy,
team.
and I feel very confident in him going into the season. And like I said,
that's it.
I think
We got
Del
2 guys.
Pitt and Greg Newsome, solid players.
Serviceable.
Not special, not bad. They're
Right.
starting NFL players.
Yeah.
Solid players. I just don't know. I don't know for sure about anybody else. I think Mason Graham's going to be good. I think Schlesinger's going to be good. I think Mike Hall has potential. I like Alex Wright. I think if everything goes right, could the Browns be a top 10 defense? Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. But a lot's got to go right with unproven
I know
players.
this wasn't in the rundown. It just hit me. I'd love to get their thoughts on this. Yesterday, the Packers gave up 2 ones to get a very special player.
Yep.
Their ones would not have been as sexy as our ones. Our ones would have closed that deal. Would you have given up 2 first rounds to get Micah Parsons added on this defense with Myles Garrett?
No.
You would not have done it.
No, until you have a quarterback, I don't trade any draft capital. Until I get a quarterback.
He's not the missing piece like he could be in Green Bay.
Right. Like
That's
I
fair.
think in Green Bay he could be the reason they win the Super Bowl.
Well,
He
that's
could
why I
put them
say
over the
missing
top.
piece. To me,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
I think Green Bay now is solidly in the category of teams that should be looked at as the Super Bowl contender.
Especially if
And
Jordan
he
Love
wouldn't have
takes
done that for us.
another step. Right. For the Browns, no.
Unless he's a wide receiver and we don't know it.
Right.
No, I'm with you. I wouldn't have done it. It sounds kind of crazy to say, but no. Why would you? You're trying to restock your draft capital when you went 3 years without a first round pick. I thought this is exactly what the Browns should have done with Myles. Is what Dallas did. I thought that's what they should have done. I know it upset a lot of people. I do think they would have got 2 ones.
Do you know, Jay, if you poked around, was there any talk at all that the Browns were in conversations at any point?
No.
So it wasn't something that they were even had on their radar?
No. And
Myles Garrett is 4 years older than
that's part
him.
of it.
Yeah.
Part of it is Myles is older. Why I think they should have. But Myles is also better.
Yeah,
So-
they would have gotten 2 first-round picks. I agree.
I think they would
That
have.
money is insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
you know
is
what?
absolutely
The cap
insane.
keeps flying up.
I know
I don't think
does,
it really
but we've
matters.
already got one of those guys on the defense.
No, for the Browns, it didn't make any sense. For the Packers, it made sense.
Oh, it's great.
If the Chiefs had done it, if the Bills had done it, if the Ravens had done it, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Lions. So those
he
teams
can be a difference maker for a
Absolutely.
number of teams.
Right. If you're a Super Bowl contender or a borderline Super Bowl contender, it makes sense. If you're a bad team, it wouldn't have made sense.
All right, I had to sneak that in there. Sorry, Mike.
It actually was in the rundown. On the top, we were going to give quick Micah thoughts. We ended up talking
good.
95 Indians, so we ended up getting it
Perfect.
in.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Jason in our text chat was saying that he thought the trade made sense for the Cowboys. I don't really agree with that. I understand where he's coming from. It's certainly a home run move for the Packers.
Absolutely.
You could argue in the long term it could be good for both teams.
I mean, they got hit on the picks. They got hit on the picks.
Right.
But I don't think it's as terrible for Dallas as I think some people are making out to be. I love Dan Orlovsky. Like, I have a lot of respect for him.
Sure.
I think he's spot on a lot of times.
He's a smart guy.
And he said this is going to go down as the worst trade in Dallas history.
Well, what's funny about that to me, when I looked at it, I thought, oh my God, this is the antithesis of the Herschel Walker trade, which at the time was an NFC Central team with the Packers, and it infamously put Minnesota in an awful position for years, and subsequently it put Super Bowl rings on a lot of people's in Dallas's hands.
Yeah.
And this one could be the reverse. Would I be shocked if the Packers won a Super Bowl in the next 3 or 4 years?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Right, we'll see with the Cowboys. I mean, they're probably going to be late first-round picks.
Yeah.
The guess
most
would be
likely.
they'd be very late.
Yeah.
But I mean, look we're ecstatic over Schlesinger and and possibly Judkins.
Yeah.
And those were high too. So yeah, the low ones aren't as
right. But
valuable.
if you ask me, would I rather have
the Browns picks or the Packers picks? That's easy.
No. I'm saying, would I rather have Micah Parsons or Schlesinger and Judkins?
But on a team that isn't going anywhere.
I hear you. I just think you got Dak Prescott. I would have taken another run with him.
Yeah,
I would have given it another shot.
And that's why I don't think it's out.
Yeah.
I just think both teams can come out of this okay. And I there's no reason for it to get to this point. I don't understand why Jerry Jones makes these as
he's under the radar
confrontational.
cheap, Jerry Jones.
No,
for
it's
an
not
NFL
under
owner.
the radar. It is very well known. He's one of the cheapest owners.
I don't think the average fan knows that.
He spends money in very odd ways. And I think he picks his favorites based on his personal relationships with these guys.
Yeah, he might.
He loved Zeke. Gotta have Zeke. Dak, the same thing. What's interesting to me is you said that you don't hate it as much as some people do. I don't really hate it either because I don't think Dallas was a Super Bowl contender this year.
Either.
So you might as well stockpile for the future. But to give you a little glimpse into what the Cowboys fans are thinking, memes, God, the internet's a cruel place. I saw this yesterday and I'm like, I don't know if I should laugh or cry. It said, sad news out of Dallas. Jerry Jones found alive in his home at 82.
That's funny.
I'm like, my God.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I saw that tweet too, Jay.
But we're talking about like the life of somebody.
I know, but it was
I
funny.
laughed too. I felt guilty. It was like a guilty pleasure. I'm like, that's low-key funny, but that's sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel badly for Dallas sports fans who have now lost
Luka and Micah
Parsons in the same year.
Hold your tears.
I feel no sympathy for Dallas sports fans.
You know what's going to happen? They're still going to get 7 games on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football.
I don't mean bandwagon fans in Colorado. I mean like legit Dallas fans.
They've seen their team win Super Bowls. Their NBA team won a championship somewhat recently. I have no sympathy for them.
The Rangers just won the World
tears for
Series.
them.
What's that?
The Rangers.
Oh, yeah, the Rangers are in Dallas, too.
I mean, to lose Luka and Micah in the same calendar year is...
They're both 26,
That's a rough
which
year.
is tough.
That's
All
the
right,
thing,
guys,
too. It would have made more sense for the Browns to trade Myles Garrett than the Cowboys to trade Micah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
too.
Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
All right, let's get to